Good morning and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Palm Desert. And today you are with the Fearless Four. Normally we're the Fabulous Five. Today we're the Fearless Four because our beloved Reverend William has an important job that he's working on this morning and he wasn't able to join us, but we're knowing he will be back next week. I'm going to go ahead and bring us all in together through prayer. So if you would just close your eyes and just relax into this precious moment as we come together in oneness and unity. I'm so grateful to open this space up for a rich and meaningful discussion of family interactions during the holidays, knowing that this holiday is a little different than others, but there is an awareness of the life that is everywhere present, that is spirit, as it comes forth through all that we do this holiday season and every moment of every day. And so I know for each person here today that there's an open mind, an open heart to just listen, to contemplate, to see how life can be viewed from a point of view where goodness can be seen, where the life that is everywhere present can be lived into in a greater, more powerful way as we travel through this time together. And so knowing that we are well prepared for this wonderful time together, I just let go, knowing everything is unfolding easily and effortlessly as we say together, and so it is. And so welcome. Today, as you heard from my prayer, we're going to be talking about family interactions during this holiday season. And our Reverend Cheryl is going to be facilitating our discussion today. And I cannot wait to hear what she has to bring to the table. And I want to remind all of you, we invite you to bring your questions, your comments in. There's places you can give your chat to us through whatever platform you're in, whether you're YouTube or you're coming through our website. Chime into the conversation. You bring so much to the table to allow us to discuss and go deeper with what we're talking about. And so today we're going to start with our question that brings about our personal life to you, so that we can just share and kind of get to know each other and warm up this space together. And our question today is, what is your cure for occasional feelings of isolation or disconnection? And I'm going to start off since I'm already talking. And for me, it's going for a walk. I absolutely love walking. It always clears my mind. And just being outside in the world, I don't even need to be in nature. I can just be in my neighborhood. I just feel connected to all life, and any feelings of feeling separate just fall away because I feel and know that I'm part of a world. And whether I'm in the physical presence of people or not, I feel that I'm one with all of life, just being outside. So that's what I do when I'm feeling isolated. Reverend Gail, how about you?
Well, thank you, Reverend Dale. That's a great answer. And so what's my cure for occasional feelings of isolation or disconnection? Well, I think broadly, my answer today is altruism. And I say broadly because I really want to emphasize in this question that my answer is based upon the word occasional feelings of isolation or disconnection. So what is altruism? Well, for me, it's the practice of concern for the happiness of other human beings and animals. And I believe in, and I've experienced myself, the altruistic power of thought being so powerful, and group altruism even more powerful still. So not only does altruism create extraordinary effects on those being supported, for me, the most remarkable thing about altruistic intention is the extraordinary rebound effect on the participants. Yes, those who were feeling isolated or disconnected. So consistent studies have shown, and my experience has shown me, that individuals feeling isolated or disconnected who then turn to altruism. In other words, they turn away from their own personal concerns, and instead they focus on the needs and the happiness of others. They overwhelmingly experience a sense of unity with others. They feel more peaceful, they feel more compassionate, and most report they feel more optimistic. And this has truly been my experience. So when I'm feeling low, when I'm feeling isolated, when I'm feeling disconnected, I ask myself, who could use my support? And then I get going. So before I pass this question on to Reverend Bradley, I want to emphasize that if you're feeling unrelenting feelings of isolation or disconnection versus occasional feelings, you may benefit from individual support. So if any of you in our audience today are feeling this way, please contact our office and get connected with one of our practitioners or one of our ministers who'll be happy to support you. Okay, Reverend Bradley, what is your cure for occasional feelings of isolation or disconnection?
Perfect solutions and ideas so far. Remember when we used to hear in person in church, they say, can you volunteer and do things, etc. And they would have people that had volunteered reminded you of what they felt during that time, of how much of service and joy it brought to them. So the altruism is a great broad word for that. For me, I love the two answers so far. Reverend Dale, going for a walk, any kind of physical activity for me is usually doing planks and walking my dog. Usually I prior start all that with taking a meditation and seeing how broad I can imagine myself in the universe of life. Then it's planks or walking the dog, and I'll pick up my phone and text somebody like Reverend Gail was saying, who needs my support intuitively, or who do I just feel I'd like to talk to? And even if they don't text me back, the expansionness and a smile on my face that brings to me is just so rich. It is. So that's another task we're assigning you to do, is like, how can you reach out to just two people saying, hey, thinking of you, hope you have an awesome day, and see how your day unfolds from that. So how about you, Reverend Cheryl?
Well, for me, I just have to step back and remind myself that a feeling of isolation or disconnection is absolutely false, because there is no way possible in this universe I could ever be disconnected from spirit or the energy of the universe. But what I like to do is I have a garden. It's not a big garden, but it's lots of pots with lots of plants. And I love to talk to my plants because I know that they're living energy and beings, and everything that I've read about plants, the more we discover about them, they communicate, all kinds of things go on in the plant world that we as human beings sometimes have forgotten. And so when I surround myself with that energy and being in nature, like Dale said, it doesn't have to be out in the woods, but that's optimal. But when I do that, I just feel this total connection to the entire world. And I don't know how to explain it, but it's this feeling of knowing that I am valuable. I am not alone ever. I can never, ever absolutely be alone. And, for people, we've always associated being alone with not being with other people. Well, I just decide to make my connection with spirit, and I don't feel alone anymore. I just feel like I'm open at the top, and all this good stuff is just pouring into me when I just step back from my humanness and from my ability to create a feeling of disconnect or isolation. I'm creating it. So what do I have to do to break it? Break that feeling or that knowing, because it's, like I said at the beginning, it's just an illusion, because I can never, ever be disconnected. And I just love that thought. It was such a comfort to me when I first started into this teaching, that I was never, ever alone. And I have this little Latin plaque on I can't say it in Latin, but it means bidden or unbidden, God is here. Doesn't matter. No matter what the appearance of what's going on, God is here right now in this moment. So I'm going to just jump into my topic. I'm hoping, or I'm not hoping, I am knowing that most people have great family interaction. Right. Okay. I didn't experience that growing up. We had a very dysfunctional, doesn't even begin to step on it. It was more like I had the most crazy family in the world, is what I was convinced of. But it was just all of this anger and toxicity that had started, years before I was born or anything. And every time we got together, this family dynamic was like, oh boy, it was not a pleasant experience. And there was always, I have the one toxic aunt that no matter what you do, she will nail you to the wall for something, it doesn't matter what it was. And you always just left kind of feeling like, was it worth it? And so what I guess that what we have to think about, I think at times, is we have the past dynamic, that what's gone on in the past. And then today we have the opportunity to change that dynamic by just changing who and what we think we are. And so if you look to the future and visualize what I want my family to be, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean it will unfold that way, because they have an input into this. Every relationship is 50-50. But from my perspective, I can stay in my place of peace no matter what they do or what they say. I just have to remove my buttons, you know, that they push every time they see me, you know. And also I just have to forget what happened in the past and start a new dynamic today. I could walk up now to Aunt Helen and say, Aunt Helen, I'm so glad to see you. You look fabulous. What have you been doing with yourself? She probably, after she came to from fainting, would, you know, because of that dynamic, you know, it was always this, but I was creating it as well. So what are you doing in your life with your family with those dynamics? Are you continuing to live in the past about she did this and I did this and, you know, all of that? Or are you just ready now to open up your heart and just listen to these people without drinking the Kool-Aid, or enjoy the people that are your family, knowing that they are who they are and you are who you are. So you get to choose how you deal with any of these interactions. But also remember this, are you being with your family because you feel like you have to be because it's a holiday? Or are you being with your family because you want to be there? And so that's the difference in knowing if you should put yourself in this situation or not. If you really feel so much stress and so much anxiety about being around certain people in your family, I'm giving you permission not to. How's that? You don't have to be around them if you don't want to. I know it goes against all the family creed. Oh, we must be together for Thanksgiving. Oh, we must be together for Christmas. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way, because you are allowed to set boundaries for who interacts with you, how it affects your life. You get to decide. And a lot of times too, with family dynamics, in my family especially, there was alcohol or drugs present, which makes the situation so volatile that it's really, really difficult to stay in that. So stay in that situation with them, you know, because you see it just getting worse and worse and building and building. And so do you have to be a part of that? Or are you the person that is the alcohol that's being brought in? Are you the person that's wrecking the family dynamics? Or have you felt like that, or have you done so in the past? It doesn't have to stay the same. You get to choose if you're going to do something different, if you're going to approach your family in a different way, if you're just going to sit and listen. And I said this before, Reverend Gail gave me the best advice when I went to visit my daughter. She said, just remain curious, just listen, you know, and when you do that, you're just listening, but you're not absorbing it. You're just, and then you're keeping them engaged by you being engaged with them. And it was the most beautiful visit I've ever had in my life with my daughter. It was fabulous. I had so much fun. And so you get to decide, what are you going to decide to do? If you're going to be around family that's going to just wreck your whole holiday, whether it be on Zoom or talking or whatever, then step back. Maybe it's time to start a new family tradition of how you celebrate the holidays. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going to have to at some point anyway. So maybe today's the day, or this is the holiday that you're going to do it with yourself. You know, you're going to treat yourself like you're the most precious thing in the room. And you are. You are so precious to God. You're so precious to each and every person that's present right now. We want to see you as you are, as spirit in action, that we're expressing God in every moment. Everything that we're saying or doing or thinking, we're expressing God. So how are you going to express God? How are you going to show up this year? And I know with the isolation and the disconnect right now is the reason I had that question from our families, because of the situation what's going on with the pandemic and everything. It's going to be a different type of holiday. And maybe this is a good time for that holiday tradition to change. You know, who knows? But just take care of yourself, nurture yourself, love yourself. And I give you total permission to be selfish and just start your own tradition, no matter what everybody else is saying. So I'm just going to turn it over to somebody else. Anybody else want to jump in and have something to say here?
So thanks, Reverend Cheryl. I'd be happy to jump in after that great introduction. So what I heard Reverend Cheryl saying is that you're always at choice. So remember, no matter what is happening in your family circle, you're always at choice. You're always at choice around how you interact. So when I'm choosing, the first tool that I use is what Reverend Cheryl shared with you, is be curious. I'd like to tell you a little more about that. So what I try to do is approach each conversation with curiosity. And when I say curiosity, I mean listen and interact with curiosity instead of needing to be right or needing to talk myself or needing to place blame or needing to feel some judgment as I'm listening. So to me, the word curiosity means to be open-minded, to be receptive to the ways you can learn something from any situation, even if it feels a little less than a positive experience. So does this mean that I'm suggesting that you do not engage in conversation and instead simply listen with curiosity? And my answer is really yes and no. So this is my litmus test for family conversations. My conversation's not adding anything constructive to this experience that we're having, then why bother? A great time to listen with curiosity. And another litmus test, if it doesn't make the world better, how we're engaging, maybe don't do it or don't say it. So sometimes we just need to let things be. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes we just need to let things be. And often letting be is the first step towards letting go. Because it's important to remember that what anyone ever says to us during the holidays or outside of the holidays, those statements are always about where they are. They have nothing to do with you. So again, letting be is often the first step towards simply letting go. So Reverend Bradley, I think you wanted to jump in after me.
Sure. Powerful words, folks, powerful words. So it seems like the great key word today is choice. And Reverend Gail's last comment about, it is all about us, and how can I be in choice right here with myself? So I'm thinking, I was visualizing, if I'm observing a couple people across the room that are getting in an argument, what can I do from the other side of the room? I can know peace. I can see love. I can send love. I can experience love. We're either going, because since I'm a practicing religious scientist, and I believe that the oneness of all God is right where I am, then in that moment that I'm saying, I see and know, feel, and peace here, it has to, because the law says yes, show up some way, somehow in that conversation. Now, it could be that they don't punch each other and they just keep hollering, but who knows how it's going to show up. But I promise you, I know it always shows up. That word of choice, first thing came to mind for me was, I never agreed with that phrase that's in the vernacular of religious science and metaphysics of, we created our parents or blah, blah, blah. No. So my interpretation of all of it is that the essence that is Brad has always been. And at the time of my birth, the essence of Brad coalesced to be in physical form, and whatever was in me was always creating. And so at that time, the essence and energy that was within me created the place, the family, the parents at that time. Not consciously, as we grow and as we're in this class now we can do things consciously and by choice and choose to interact or not interact, or it's totally okay not even to see a person if you can't do that. Do you get that part? I know I'm jumping ahead in storyline, but if there's someone in your family you just can't be anywhere peaceful at all around, you know it's completely okay not to be around them. There are 7.5 billion people on the planet. At least one other person is going to want to be around you, not if you don't want to be around that person. So that's the key. So back to being born, I even attracted the doctor who gave birth to me like a couple of years later being put in jail for selling drugs. So, and the hospital I was in 5 years later being burned down. I like telling those funny little backflop stories. But being in choice, I think, is a really powerful thing of what can I do in this moment to be in choice with whatever's going on in front of me and breathe into it and say, you know, I like this. I'm going to keep knowing and praying that it continues. I don't like this. I don't like it. So what must I do want? I want that. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to breathe and know and think about that new thing that I want. So some additional wisdom from our wonderful Reverend Dale.
Thank you, Reverend Brad. I love everything that's been spoken to. It's just so perfect. I guess what I see as an opportunity for us moving into these family interactions in the holiday season, and indeed this year we might not be in close proximity, but next year we will. So this is good to kind of store up on this wisdom that we're imparting to you today. And to me, I just see this as an invitation to deepen our spirituality and knowing who we are. And I know that as people are thinking about going into holiday interactions with people, there's all this drama and all this memory stuff that starts to get activated, and we get wrapped up and nervous and uptight and upset. And like my cohorts have been saying, this is where we exercise the power of choice. And it's a choice to go into these interactions differently with a different mindset. And I'm going to bring in our Dr. James and his vision statement, which is love only, forgive everything, and know who you are. And I know when I was thinking about what my beloveds were saying before I came on, is this feeling of powerlessness that can happen to us when we get into these interactions with people who trigger us or whatever. And this is an opportunity to take our power back and know who we are. And, you know, our family, some believe that we do choose our family, but whether you believe that or not, your family is your blood family and they're who you are. But you don't have to be beholden to them, and you don't have to be subjugated to their behavior. And so it's important for you to realize who you are as a spiritual being and a person who has all the power of the universe inside of yourself. And so what I see as being something instructive for us moving into these types of situations is to really claim our power. And when we know who we are, the triggers fall away. And you know, the coolest thing to do with what I found in my life, people who really upset me, is when I can come into compassion for them, when I can understand that I don't know what preceded them, or maybe I do, and I can understand why they may not be the easiest to deal with at family functions. When I can come through love and compassion, then I can go and interact with them or not. But I don't have that icky energy around it. I feel loving and compassionate. And what's really cool is when we come into interactions with people with that type of love, it tends to interact with others and affect them as well. And so changing our energy is changing the energy of the room. So it really is a great spiritual exercise to be able to do some work before we go into these family interactions that may have been difficult in the past. Do some pre-work on it. Use your consciousness, use your spiritual tools that we're giving to you, use your power of decision, and create a whole new experience starting with you, and just see how it impacts your family interactions. And so now I'm going to pass it off to Reverend Cheryl, I believe. Yes.
One of the things that all of these family interactions are based on the past. So every time we're walking into a new family a new adventure in our family, we are bringing all of that baggage with us. We're bringing our baggage into the room. And so that's where what Reverend Dr. Mellon says, James Mellon says, is forgive everything. If you can just say, you know what, that was the past. I'm not going to make it my future. And as long as I'm looking backwards, I'm not looking forwards. So in that moment, just for that one moment, just leave all that baggage behind you and just go in and try this new thing of interacting from a place of non-judgment, not remembering, but a place of building new memories and trying to create that kind of feeling, if that's what you want to do. But you absolutely, as every one of us have said, you absolutely do not have to put yourself in a toxic situation. It is your choice. But also remember that there's a test for stress. If you want to be there, cool. If you don't. You don't have to. Even though your mother's like, oh, but you must be here because, everybody else is going to be here. But I don't like these people. Why do I have to be there? Why do I have to build my whole holiday on something that is not going to be a pleasant experience? I want to feel the joy and the beauty and the peace of the season. And sometimes that requires me to set boundaries and say, no, you're not going to infringe on me. And I know that I'm carrying past baggage and I'm going to drop it off and everything else. But even doing that, I still don't have the strength or the desire to be in this toxic mess, And so it's okay. You can't just put away the guilt and the shame because I'm not doing what they want me to do, and do what you want to do. Do what makes your heart sing. That's what I like. And just feel that joy. Sometimes that's what you had to do. And I had to do that with my family. I mean, it just came to the point when I was old enough that I said, no more. I'm not doing this anymore. Come and see me if you like, but I'm not doing this anymore. And, I had a better relationship with him after I made that decision because I didn't feel the pressure or the guilt or the shame of not doing what they wanted me to do. And it just really freed me up a lot. So I'd invite you to try it, I mean, I'm not saying call them up and say, I'm not coming to your party this year because I, blah, 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 whatever. Just make that decision to stay in peace and stay within yourself. So I think that Brad's gonna, or is it Brad? No, Gail's gonna jump in this time. Now, go ahead, Gail.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend Cheryl. And I loved how Reverend Cheryl brought up how we bring to our holiday traditions, to our relationships, we bring the past with us. It's like a suitcase that we carry. I think she called it baggage. I tend to call it wounds. So we all have those. That's a reality. So I'd like to address that further. Some of these touchy topics during the holidays. Now, the biggest one a lot of people are thinking about right now is politics. For me, it's very, very easy to just say time out on politics, just not going to have that conversation during the holidays. But what about all of these other topics, these topics that create those deep wounds? Well, first of all, the holidays for you may be in person or may be virtual. So this conversation goes for either way that you are able to join together. But whether it's virtual or in person, holidays can be ripe with conflict and struggle. And for many families, I know mine included, wounds lie barely covered. They're right there, right under the surface, and they're easily reopened with something as simple as a word or a glance. Have you noticed that? And conflicts can skim the surface of a conversation so easily, and then these conflicts can be tripped into kind of a landmine topic. So there is a strategy for evolving a particularly troublesome topic that creates strain during the holidays, these touchy topics. And I'm just going to kind of pull them all together and just consider them wounds, conflicts and family wounds, because we all have those, whether they generate from politics or something else. So most of us have a difficult mother or father, or maybe it's an aunt or a cousin who gets under our skin, or maybe you experience the age-old rivalry between siblings. So before your gatherings, consider this. Ask yourself, what family stories do you hold that open your wounds? Become aware of that. What family stories do you hold that open your wounds? And I say ask this question because learning to let go of wounds and old stories is necessary. It's necessary because it frees up space for other connections to emerge. So I love the way Reverend Bradley and Reverend Cheryl both said, and Reverend Dale, you don't have to do anything you don't want to. We come back to you're always at choice. But as we all desire to learn and grow, learning to let go of these old wounds and old stories is necessary because we want to free up space for other just amazing connections to emerge. So with that, I'll turn it over to Reverend Bradley.
So I thought I was going into Christmas looking forward to the only time of year we make these really awesome meat pies, building my annual Lego, and now I'm going to bring up all decades of my past and reflect on them and see which ones I want to keep and which ones I don't and which new ones I want to choose. Well, okay, don't we do that every day and every week and every month? So I don't know what made me think of that, because the wisdom so far on the show has been amazing of how can we take whatever's there, more consciously observe the buttons that we didn't mean to let somebody install, but they did. And how can we more consciously choose consciously of the experience tomorrow or next week we want, whether it's anything like the past or not. And we've heard that phrase, principle is not bound by precedent. Just remember the law of attraction doesn't care what happened before it. If yesterday I said, oh, I'm a terrible person, and you nicked your finger, it doesn't really pay attention to any of that. It's just in the moment, right here, what do I want to claim? What do I want to know? My sweet, wonderful partners in this ministry hear me say this all the time, and I'm obviously still in a mode for me to do that. Right here in this moment, what do I want? What do I need to know? What do I need to pray about? Because for me, that makes everything else so much easier. Because you could think about, as a caregiver for my parents, most of the work is with my mom, just very little with my dad. Starting an expanded ministry, anything else going on, COVID, my list can be huge sometimes. And to say, whether it's a tangible thing, but even more important, I'm getting now as I'm talking, the intangible, like, what do I need? What would be the best for me to feel right now? What do I need to do? See how we went to do so fast? It's not about friggin' doing. It's about being. And it's about taking the breath or meditation or the time. I get that still looks like a doing, to bring ourselves to the point of right here, in the moment I'm going to know peace. And as selfish as I can be with that, it benefits me and the entire life and world and people around me. We especially during the holidays, we think there's more things to do or more gifts to wrap or blah, blah, blah. I used to have a big judgment of people that threw cigarette butts out the window. And now the only thing I think I still have left in the world is people saying, oh, I'm so busy, or it's so busy during the holidays. Well, friggin' stop it. Yes, I know I said the quasi F word twice so far. Just stop it, because it doesn't have to be. Make it as peaceful and joyful in June, which is my birthday month, as it is in December, when a majority of people in the world might be celebrating Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, or Christmas or something else. So it's always about breathing, taking a breath, connecting, watching these awesome programs at 10 o'clock every day with Center for Spiritual Living. There's hundreds of broadcasts now you can browse through. You could do that in your stocking someday. Get your coffee, get your cinnamon cake, and watch a couple hours of that, and I promise that'll put you in a mood. Are we still sharing, or we want to wrap up? Or
Yeah. Well, I have something to add, and we can just allow whatever's unfolding here. So something that hasn't really been touched upon that I was reflecting on my past family holidays, and it's not necessarily that people are, triggering us or we're bringing the past, but there's another thing that I used to experience, and that was uh, unfulfilled expectations that my family had of me, and having to come to the gathering and people being disappointed, or I'm disappointed because my life's just not working very well. And it's not the family's fault. They're bringing it up. They're asking how you're doing. And then for me, what happened was God, I'm such a failure, and I can't get my life pulled together, and this has happened and that happened. So it's what just basic what basic questioning is happening outside of me by my family is causing me to feel distressful about myself. And for me, looking back at those times, to understand that for me, that I was at a place in my life where that's what was happening. I was doing the best I could, trying to figure things out, and to give myself that self-love and that self-compassion, and to understand going into those family gatherings, these questions might be asked of me, and how do I feel about myself, rather than letting everything play out in the arena of the family conversation. Before going in, I need to be square with me and okay with what's not working in my life, and be able to stand in that and be able to talk about it without feeling horrible because my family's looking at me and I'm thinking they're judging me. So there's just so much self work, and I don't want to call it work because it's evolution, and it's understanding who we are, and it's getting to know, that life is what it is, and sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down, and just to be okay with it all because it's all unfolding perfectly. But these family things really give us such an opportunity to look within and see what's going on here inside of us, and where aren't we feeling right with ourselves, and what do we need to do to love ourselves, know who we are, and to be able to be on our road in a way where we can understand that this is life unfolding and everything's working perfectly for this expansion that's taking place. And sometimes it's an uncomfortable place, and sometimes it's lovely. So that's just wanted to add that piece of the pie in. So I think Reverend Gail is up next.
Yes. Thank you, Reverend Dale. And I'm going to address one of the questions that's out there from our audience. So thank you so very much. And they were talking about really tools or strategies. So I'm going to suggest a strategy, and I'm going to call it drop the rope. So first, recognize that your energy is tied up in the difficult interactions with another person. That's really what's happening. Your energy is getting all tied up in that difficult interaction. So consider dropping your end of the rope. So what I mean by that is drop the hurt, the anger, the fear, the anxiety, the judgment, whatever is informing your side of the story and causing those feelings that are very disruptive inside. So think about what happens for a minute when you drop the rope when you're playing tug of war, right? Dropping the rope leaves the other person without your energy to pull and tug on. So a tug of war can't actually exist without someone on each end of the rope, can it? So your family member may attempt to pull you back into the drama, pull your energy back in, but again, you're always at choice, and you can leave your end of the rope untethered by choosing to shift the dynamic and release the struggle. So if you find yourself in that situation, particularly the individual in our audience that asked around that question, consider dropping the rope. And what that kind of comes to for me is owning your own emotions. So whatever you're experiencing this holiday season, whatever it is, own your emotions. Own whatever it is that you're feeling. And be prepared to transform your negative emotions, if that's what you're experiencing, into positive, practical solutions. Well, how does that work? Well, if you own your emotions, at least this works for me, and I own also my behavior, it gives me a sense of control over my life. And once I'm armed with this awareness, I can tune into the source of what these irritations are, what are these wounds, and I can respond based upon what's going on for me and not react accordingly. So thanks for letting me share. Who wants to jump in?
The other thing is just writing on what Dale said, and Gail, that's beautiful, both of them. But Dale, your family's expectations of you, but what about your expectations of your family? It's like, okay, this Christmas, it's going to be good because I'm not going to do this and this and this, and I'm going to really be conscious of who I am and why I'm there and everything. And then you go and you expect your family to realize that you're in a different space, in a different place, and you're not, and they don't. They're still stuck in that opinion or judgment of you that they've had for years, you know, even though it's not true. It's not who you are, but that's what they think that you are. And so you go in with this great expectation. You got all this stuff cleaned out. You're just ready to, let's start a new family tradition. Let's do it all. And then you go in and you're right back into the toxic mess, you know, but don't expect so much out of others. Just allow them to be who they are. Even though it's not somebody you necessarily want to be around, or you would never think or feel that way, just allow them to be who they are and not have that expectation that they're suddenly going to change because you've changed. Only thing that's changed is you and your expectations and what you want. So why don't you, with your baggage, as I call it, or that dead corpse that's tied to your ankle that I call the past also, that why not just leave all that stuff at the door? No expectations from them, and just know that you're in the right place and you're in the right space, and whatever anybody is doing around you has absolutely nothing to do with you. It's them. You know, if you can go from that point of view, then I just like, that's my favorite thing to do. When people are acting out or doing whatever, you know, or telling me who I am or whatever, I just like to sit there and think, thank you for showing me who you are out loud. Thank you. So anybody who's going to jump in now? Okay, it's going to be Reverend Dale. Great. Okay, go for it.
I love this strategy. So this one just came to mind. I'm going to call it take 5. So if you're if things are just heating up inside of you, take 5, go in the bathroom, close the door, take 5 deep breaths in and slowly exhale. Put your hand on your heart and say, I am safe and secure, and I've got this. That is my strategy.
I'm safe and secure, and I've got this.
And I've got this. Reverend Brad, did you want to add something?
I don't need to add anything because I'm safe and secure, and I've got this.
Wonderful. So I would love to invite my cohorts, if they have any final closing comments, to jump in now. Cheryl, Reverend Cheryl.
I would just like to say happy holidays to everyone. And I know that you're going to handle it with great peace and joy in your heart. And it's just going to unfold to the best holiday you've ever created. So thank you for joining us today.
I would probably add, I would encourage anybody who's listening, including myself, you know, connect with one person that I'm going to choose to connect with on Christmas Day. Just one person that isn't normally in my sphere circle. And I'm just going to send them a text saying, you know what, I'm going to call you at this time on Christmas Day, and does that work? And just reach out in a very unique and different way than I ever have. I have no idea where that came from. It just, as Reverend Cheryl was talking, I thought of it. So I'm going to do that. That feels really cool for me to do, for me and whoever the recipient is. So one more idea.
Well, I think just my add-on to all of this is in addition to our blood families, and there's been a lot of research done, I think maybe the last 20 years or so, that people are finding they have other families now that are just as important. Our soul families is how I like to refer to it. And just the importance of having soul families and blood families, that kind of helps balance out if you've got families where there's a lot of unresolved stuff going on and a lot of just discomfort and gathering with them. When you have other types of family relationships in your life, it really allows you and enables you to be able to deal with your blood family if they're contentious with a lot more peace of mind and support. So I say, make everybody you love your family, so that you've always, it's not just about the blood family. You've got all that additional support. And by the way, we are your family. We're always here for you, and we love you all. So you've always got us as your family to connect with.
Wow, the wisdom that keeps pouring out, Reverend Dale. Thank you very much. You know what spurred me is Reverend Dale talking about there's other people that are in your life that are not blood family. And I'm remembering 20 years ago or more with my wife, and you know, we would have this family tradition. Now, her family is awesome. And my family's nice, but we didn't socialize with them a lot. And so there was like a time in the holidays that was just family. And I remember even before I got married, that didn't make sense to me. Why would I stop being with the people that I love and hang out with like daily and switch to something else for 3 days and then go back to them? So with my wife, we started including friends in our holiday traditions, a Christmas Day thing, Christmas Eve dinner. And that was just really rich to include family of friends, or family as friends, friends as family, into our life experience. So it's been a wonderful day and time today, folks. I really just so appreciate hanging out with all of you.
Well, we are now at the close of our hour. So I'd like to thank you all for joining us today and for investing in your personal health around family interactions during the holiday season. And I'd now like to invite each and every one of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I loved the closing comments that Reverend Bradley and Reverend Dale shared. You know, it is the holiday season, and family comes in many, many different types of packages. So with that, let's take a deep breath in and make that transition now into the part of this time together where we support our center financially. So if you were spiritually fed by our discussion today, please consider supporting our continued programming. You can donate here on our website, or you can call the center directly. We are very, very blessed by all of you that support our center. And as you choose to make a donation today, we welcome it gratefully. So I'd like to know what's going on at the center. And how I do so is I go to the website at www.cslpalmdesert.org. And I like to look at the calendar of events and our events banner that scrolls across the middle of the screen once you log in. You will find amazing and inspiring ways to connect each and every day of the week. Please note that every day at 10 a.m., we have a program that you will not want to miss. And in particular, this week, I want to mention Fridays, Life on Love. Reverend Dale is going to be joining Reverend Charles in exploring the amazing Hanukkah. And in addition to 10 a.m. every day, join us on Wednesday mornings at 8 a.m. for our Power of 8 Circle and the Social 8 every Thursday at 5 p.m. Next week, Tuesday, we have special programming. It's December 15th. Join us at 6:30 for our monthly Restorative Intention Circle. And then the next day, Wednesday, the 16th at 6 p.m. for our Eternal Light Remembrance Service, a time for all of us who have lost loved ones during the year to come and honor them and also honor our time of grief. Our website banner provides a detailed description of every offering, guiding you towards programs that speak to your soul. So please join me now as I close this space with a benediction. Something absolutely wonderful is happening through me right now. It is a movement. Healing and freedom starts here right now. I feel this healing and this freedom as my mind, as my body, and as all of my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I accept it just the way it is. And I know that I am never alone. Spirit is right where I am, and Spirit is right where you are. I only have to look within at any moment in time to know that I am guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses its love and peace through my love and peace in this world. From deepest gratitude, I give thanks that life can be lived by staying open to healing, by staying open to peace, and by staying open to truth, so that everything I say, I do, and I think honors this presence within. Please join me in saying, and so it is.